Between Two Worlds. Chapter 5. Lost in the Dark. Lyra opened her eyes to the familiar hush of the garden. The mossy bed cradled her gently, vines and petals still warm from where she had lain the night before. The small stump stood beside her, its velvet surface dotted with tiny glowing buds that pulsed slowly, like a quiet heartbeat. Moonlight filtered through the high canopy, the crescent moon hanging low and bright, exactly where it always was. Whisper Willow was already awake, and clearly in a playful mood. He sat at the edge of the bed, smoke gray fur silvered by moonlight, tail curled neatly around his paws. His green-gold eyes met hers the moment she stayed. Then, instead of his usual calm dignity, he launched himself at her shoulder with a gentle but firm headbutt that nearly knocked her back into the pillows. Lyra let out a surprised laugh. "Hey, what's that for?" He did it again, lighter this time, then flopped sideways against her like an oversized kitten, purring loud enough to vibrate the moss. His big paws kneaded the petal blanket, eyes half closed in pure bliss. She rubbed his ears, grinning despite herself. "Someone's happy to see me," she said. He blinked slowly, the cat version of a smile, then leapt off the bed and looked back at her, tail high, clearly saying, "Come on, we've got places to be. No time for lying around." Lyra swung her legs over the edge. The moss was cool under her bare feet. Tiny white flowers opened where she stepped, releasing their soft vanilla scent, then closed again. She followed him through the garden, past the lantern blossoms that swayed in greeting, past drifting butterflies that seemed to bow as she passed. Whisper Willow led her straight to the hidden hollow. The thicket of vines parted easily, as though the garden itself wanted her to go deeper. The wooden ladder waited, the rungs worn smooth and sides wrapped in living vines. And below, the warm golden light glowed invitingly, carrying scent of fresh earth, honey, and warm bread. Lyra paused at the top. Down again. Whisper Willow touched his nose to her hand, then leapt onto the first rung and looked back expectantly. She took a breath and followed. The descent felt familiar now. The smooth rungs, the sparkling crystals in the walls, the warming air scented with earth and honey. At the bottom, Hopper the rabbit was waiting alone, his ears pricked forward but drooping slightly with worry. "You're back," he said, relief clear in his voice. "I was starting to worry the rumbles would keep you away." Lyra knelt to his level. "I promised I would," with a smile. Hopper's nose twitched. "The family's at home. They're not great tonight, though. Come and see." He led her along the flower-lined path to the round blue door. Inside, the burrow it felt different, quieter, heavier. Mama Clover was by the hearth, stirring a pot but not really paying much attention. And Papa Burrow sat at the table, head in his paws. The kits were huddled together on a rug, unusually still. Clover looked up. "Lyra." Her voice was warm but tired. "Sit. The tea's on." Lyra sat, and Whisper Willow curled himself up on a grass cushion beside her, and the silence stretched. Nobody knew what to say, but Thistle broke the silence, hopping forward with his usual boldness. The Thornbeast roared again. "Close." It shook the walls. Bramble nodded, quieter. Dust fell from the ceiling. I thought the roof would cave in. Fern clung to Clover's shawl, peeking out. "I cried," she sniffed. Clover stroked Fern's ears. "We all did a little. My love." Papa Burrow lifted his head. "Another family lost their home last night. The outer meadow tunnel collapsed. They are staying with cousins now, but it's crowded, and everyone's on edge." Lyra's heart sank. "I'm so sorry." Clover managed a small smile. "But you being here really helps." They drank tea in silence for a while. The kits gradually crept closer, and Fern climbed onto Lyra's lap. Thistle then spoke up again. "Can you fix him? The Thornbeast, I mean." Lyra hesitated. "I want to try, but I need to understand more." Hopper Burrow nodded. There's someone who can help with that. The Fairy Queen. She knows the old ways. Clover looked doubtful. The doors have been tricky lately, and the rumbles make the mist nervous. Thistle's ears perked. I want to come. Clover shushed him. No, my love, it's far too dangerous. Thistle sulked, crossing his paws. I'm not a baby. Bramble rolled his eyes. You cried when the dust fell. I did not, he complained. You did too. Clover sighed. Enough, putting a claw to her mouth. Lyra hid a smile. It felt like a real family, worry and bickering and love all mixed together. Hopper stood up quickly. We have to try the doors. Lyra's a dreamer. The mist will let her through. The three left Burrow and the rest stayed behind. Thistle still sulking because he wanted an adventure. They walked to the upside-down oak with its cluster of tiny doors. Hopper explained the knocking patterns, demonstrating on a lavender door. 3 soft taps. Pause. And 2 quick. The door opened. Purple mist spilled out. Step in, Hopper said. Lyra did. The mist wrapped around her. It felt cool and almost sparkling. The world rushed up. When it cleared, she was small. Whisper Willow shrank too. Still cat-sized to her now. She wobbled on her feet, her arms windling. Whoa! She grabbed his fur to steady herself and nearly fell over. Hopper laughed. First time's always funny. Hold tight, he said. Lyra climbed onto Whisper Willow's back, her fingers buried in his warm fur. Don't you dare buck me off. He flicked an A, amused. They stepped through the lavender door. But something was wrong. The mist didn't clear gently. It swirled violently, purple smoke turning dark, almost black. And a deep rumble shook everything. The Thornbeast felt closer than ever. The mist grabbed Lyra by the hand. Whisper Willow yowled, and Hopper shouted something, but the words were lost, and the world spun. Lyra felt herself falling, not down the ladder, but deeper, into a place the doors weren't meant to go. The last thing she saw was Hopper's terrified face and Whisper Willow's outstretched paw. Then darkness consumed her. It was very cold, and the silence was deafening. She opened her eyes. She was full size again, but this was not the burrow, not the garden. A vast, dark cavern stretched around her, walls of rough stone, air thick with dust, which made her struggle to breathe. But far away, a low rumble echoed. It was a Thornbeast, and she was all alone, which made her shiver. She was starting to feel frightened. No Whisper Willow, no Hopper, no way back that she could see. The doors had thrown her deeper into a different, unwelcoming place. Walls of jagged stone stretched up and disappeared into the darkness. The ground was uneven, scattered with broken rocks and fallen roots that looked like dead fingers. But a fear was coming, closer than ever. She could sense the Thornbeast. Lyra's heart pounded. Hello, she called, in a small, quiet voice. An echo came back that seemed to mock her. She stood slowly. Her legs were trembling. There seemed no path, no ladder, and no visible way of getting out. The light was very dim, and she felt very alone, truly alone. She took a step. The sharp stone scraped under her bare feet, which hurt a lot. But she took another step and braved the pain. The rumble came again, louder, closer, and she froze. It wasn't anger in that sound of its roar. It was pain, raw, endless pain. And Lyra gulped. I'm here. She whispered bravely to the dark. I came to help. But this time only silence responded to her. Then a scraping noise, which sounded like claws on stone, made her spin round. Her stomach twisted. and she backed up to the wall nervously, with no way out. She slid down to her knees. Whisper Willow, where was he? She needed him now more than ever. Was he still looking for her? Or had the doors closed? Forever? She thought of the Real world, her bookshop waiting to open, and Myra wondering where on earth she was. The rumble came again. It was closer this time. The ground shook and she held onto the wall to steady herself. Dust and rocks fell from above her head. Lyra pressed her hands over her ears from the noise and to protect her head from the falling rocks. Then the tase came, not gentle. She felt herself becoming overwhelmed. Hot, angry, but most of all frightened. I can't do this, she whispered, sobbing. I'm not strong enough. I don't know how to get away. She curled up tighter, feeling the tears roll down her cheeks. The ominous red glow brightened, and a shape moved in the distance, huge, shadowy, and menacing. The Thornbeast. She saw the outline, its massive body, thorns like spears, eyes glowing red with pain. He roared. The sound tore right through her, and she screamed. She covered her head as much as she could and waited for the claws. The sound became more deafening. Then suddenly, nothing. The roar stopped. Further away she heard a low, broken whimpering. Pain. Lyra cried harder. She felt she was going to die right here. But for some reason it seemed to have changed direction. It began to quieten, the red glow dissipating and the cave becoming gloomier again. The rumble became more distant. However, the quietness that was returning somehow made it feel more hopeless. She felt trapped here. She stopped calling out and felt like she has lost all hope. There was a tunnel ahead where the Thornbeast had gone, but she couldn't move from the spot. She felt terrified and she remained curled up in a bowl. She was cold, felt empty, and completely lost. Then, suddenly, the darkness shifted, not gently, but violently spinning. The stone beneath her vanished, and she fell, screaming and falling, through the void, through the black, through absolute nothing. Then, the light. It was harsh, it hurt her eyes. And then she hit her mattress. Dazed, she fell for the soft bed in her sweat-soaked nightgown, her heart racing. She was at last back, safe in her apartment. The clock said 11:23 a.m. With all her strength, she sat up and stumbled to the bathroom, splashed water onto her face, and looked into the mirror. She was pale and weary. Her eyes were red. She needed to sit as the shock set in, clinging to the walls as she went, and she collapsed into a chair and looked down at her hands and nightgown. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. In fact, her hands and nightgown were filthy like she had been digging in mud. The garden now, at least, had let her go, but it had taken something from her hope, her confidence. She didn't know if she would ever be able to go back. Maybe not ever.